Chapter 21. Phone call.
Phone call.
What will it be?
Oh, sippy sip. I could feel it was too early again when I woke, and I knew I was getting the schedule of my days and nights slowly reversed. I lay in my bed and listened to the quiet voices of Alice and Jasper in the other room. I rolled till my feet touched the floor and then staggered to the living room. She sounds like a drunk. The clock on the TV said it was just after 2 in the morning. Alice and Jasper were sitting together on the sofa, Alice sketching again while Jasper looked over her shoulder. They didn't look up when I entered, too engrossed in Alice's work. I crept to Jasper's side to peek. Did she see something more? I asked him quietly. Yes, something's brought him back to the room with the VCR, but it's light now. I watched as Alice drew a square room with dark beams across its low ceiling. The walls were paneled in wood, a little too dark, out of date. The phone goes there, I whispered, pointing. That's my mother's house. Alice was already off the couch, phone in hand, dialing. I stared at the precise rendering of my mother's family room. Alice's lips were trembling with the speed of her words, the low buzzing impossible to decipher. I don't remember them being able to talk in super speed.
That doesn't make any sense. I don't remember that either. I think that
they've mentioned it a lot throughout the book, but I don't remember that being a thing.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a thing. They definitely just cut it out the movie. They're like, nah.
Can you imagine all the vampires running around shouting like auctioneers? Bella, Alice said. I looked at her numbly. Bella, Edward is coming to get you. He and Emmett and Carlisle are going to take you somewhere, to hide you for a while. Edward is coming? The words were like a life vest holding my head above the flood. Yes, he's catching the first flight out of Seattle. We'll meet him at the airport and you'll leave with him. But my mother, he came here for my mother, Alice. Jasper and I will stay till she's safe. I can't win, Alice. You can't guard everyone I know forever. Don't you see what he's doing? He's not tracking me at all. He'll find someone. He'll hurt someone I love. Alice, I can't. We'll catch him, Bella, she assured me. And what if you get hurt, Alice? Do you think that's okay with me? Do you think it's only my human family he can hurt me with? Alice looked meaningfully at Jasper. A deep, heavy fog of lethargy washed over me, and my eyes closed without my permission. My mind struggled against the fog, realizing what was happening. I don't want to go back to sleep, I snapped. He can put people to sleep now?
I mean, it just make you so calm, like so zen. You kind of just pass out.
I think I need that. My mind went around in circles, trying to come up with some way out of this nightmare. There was no escape, no reprieve. I could see only one possible end looming darkly in my future. The only question was how many other people would be hurt before I reached it. The only solace, the only hope I had left, was knowing that I would see Edward soon.
I hate this girl.
Maybe if I could just see his face again, I would also be able to see the solution that eluded me now. His face brings all the answers.
Is that like in wartime when they pull out the little picture of their sweetheart and they're like, I gotta keep fighting.
I see the way now.
Yeah.
Through her coiffed hair and rosy cheeks. When the phone rang, I returned to the front room, a little ashamed of my behavior. Bella, did you just get some self-awareness?
Probably not. Don't worry. It's temporary.
I hoped I hadn't offended either of them, that they would know how grateful I was for the sacrifices they were making on my account. Alice was talking as rapidly as ever, but what caught my attention was that, for the first time, Jasper was not in the room. I looked at the clock. It was 5:30 in the morning. They're just boarding the plane, Alice told me. They'll land at 9:45. Just a few more hours to keep breathing till he was here.
Or she can do stop breathing.
Yeah.
If he doesn't show up.
At which point she can just drop.
Well, that's what happens when he kisses her. Collapse.
She just... Where's Jasper? He went to check out. You aren't staying here? No, we're relocating closer to your mother's house. My stomach twisted uneasily at her words, but the phone rang again, distracting me. She looked surprised, but I was already walking forward, reaching hopefully for the phone. Hello? Alice asked. No, she's right here. Your mother, she mouthed. Bella? Bella? It was my mother's voice in a familiar tone I'd heard 1,000 times in my childhood. Anytime I'd gotten too close to the edge of the sidewalk or straight out of her sight in a crowded place, it was the sound of panic. I sighed. I'd been expecting this, though I tried to make my message as unalarming as possible. If anyone in this group, if you called your parent and you left a voicemail that says, I need you to call me back at this number that you have no idea what it is. Call me back at this number as soon as you get this message before you do anything.
Sounds
I urge it,
awful.
Yeah.
they're gonna be freaking out. Everything is fine, okay? Just give me a minute and I'll explain everything, I promise. I paused, surprised that she hadn't interrupted me yet. Mom? Oh, James. Be very careful not to say anything until I tell you to. The voice I heard now was unfamiliar as it was unexpected. It was a man's tenor voice, a very pleasant, generic voice, the kind of voice that you hear in the background of luxury car commercials. He spoke very quickly. That's a very niche, specific sounding voice.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like much more posh and smooth than it should be. Now I don't need to hurt your mother, so please do Now I don't need to hurt your mother, so please do exactly as I say and she'll be fine. He paused for a minute while I listened in mute horror. That's very good, he congratulated. Now repeat after me and do try to sound natural. Please say, no, Mom, stay where you are. No, Mom, stay where you are. My voice was barely more than a whisper. I can see this is going to be difficult. The voice was amused, still light and friendly. Why don't you walk into another room now so your face doesn't ruin everything? There's no reason for your mother to suffer. As you're walking, please say, Mom, please listen to me. Say it now. Mom, please listen to me, my voice pleaded. I walked very slowly to the bedroom.
Okay, hold up. This
Yeah.
is another thing that's bothering me that I think the Vampire Diaries does better for. So, vampires have very good hearing, right? Like, they can hear heartbeats.
Yeah.
Oh,
They can hear, if you're in the same room with somebody on the phone, they can hear the other person on the line.
I can hear other people's phone conversations.
Exactly.
You have that speaker turned up a little too loud and you're like, yeah, I heard the conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a vampire would be able to hear them like making tea in the background on the other side or like whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
That is an excellent point. I shut the door behind me, trying to think clearly through the terror that gripped my brain. There now, are you alone? Just answer yes or no. Yes. But they can still hear you, I'm sure. Yes. All right then, the agreeable voice continued. Say, Mom, trust me. Mom, trust me. This worked out rather better than I expected. I was prepared to wait, but your mother arrived ahead of schedule. It's easier this way, isn't it? Less suspense, less anxiety for you. I waited. I want you to listen very carefully. I'm going to need you to get away from your friends. You think you could get away from them if your mother's life depended on it? Answer yes or no. This is like legitimately, if you got on a phone call sounds like a serial killer phone call. It'd be very creepy.
Sometimes when you're like on like automated phone calls. And
Yeah.
they're like,
Say
"You
yes
have it,
or no.
or no."
Yeah, is that correct? Say yes or no. If you would like to refill a prescription, say yes or no. You're right. That takes away some of the sinister vibes.
Yeah, now it's just like weird.
Now it's like,
automated.
read it. Say, I love you, Mom. I'll see you soon. Say it now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how my brain started reading it as I was reading along. I was like, lol.
Goodbye, Bella. I look forward to seeing you again. He hung up. I held the phone to my ear. My joints were frozen with terror. I couldn't unbend my fingers to drop it. I knew I had to think, but my head was filled with the sound of my mother's panic. Seconds ticked by while I fought for control. Slowly, my thoughts started to break past that brick wall of pain. To plan. For I had no choices now but one. To go to the mirrored room and die. I pushed the terror back as well as I could. My decision was made. It did no good to waste time agonizing over the outcome. I had to think clearly because Alice and Jasper were waiting for me, and evading them was absolutely essential and absolutely impossible. I was suddenly grateful that Jasper was gone. If he had been here to feel my anguish in the last 5 minutes, how could I have kept them from being suspicious? I choked back the dread, the anxiety, tried to stifle it. I couldn't afford it now. I didn't know when he would return. I concentrated on my escape. I had to hope that my familiarity with the airport would turn the odds in my favor. Somehow, I had to keep Alice away. I knew Alice was in the other room waiting for me, curious, but I had to deal with one more thing in private before Jasper got back. I had to accept that I wouldn't see Edward again. Not even one last glimpse of his face to carry with me to the mirror room. I was going to hurt him, and I couldn't say goodbye. I let the waves of torture wash over me, have their way for a time. Then I pushed them back. too and went to face Alice. Okay, so she's really sad that she doesn't get to say goodbye to like Edward and say I'm sorry. What about your father?
Honestly.
Like you just pieced out and said F you, Dad, and then like you're just gonna go die randomly? Like that's gonna ruin him for life. I let the waves of torture wash over me, have their way for a time. Then I pushed them back too and went to face Alice. The only expression I could manage was a dull, dead look. That's her normal, resting face.
Yeah.
I saw her alarm, and I didn't wait for her to ask. I had just one script, and I'd never manage improvisation now. My mom was worried. She wanted to come home, but it's okay. I convinced her to stay away. My voice was lifeless. We'll make sure she's fine, Bella. Don't worry. I turned away. I couldn't let her see my face. My eye fell on the blank page of the hotel stationery on the desk. I went to it slowly, a plan forming. There was an envelope, too. That was good. Alice, I asked slowly without turning, keeping my voice level. If I write a letter for my mother, would you give it to her? Leave it at the house, I mean? Sure, Bella. Her voice was careful. She could see me coming apart at the seams. I had to keep my emotions under better control. I went into the bedroom again and knelt next to the little bedside table to write. Edward, I wrote. My hand was shaking. The letters were hardly legible. I love you and I am so sorry. He has my mom and I have to try. I know it may not work. I am so very, very sorry. Don't be angry with Alice and Jasper. If I get away from them, it will be a miracle. Tell them thank you for me, Alice especially, and please, please don't come after him. That's what he wants, I think. I can't bear it if anyone has to be hurt because of me, especially you. Please, this is the only thing I can ask of you now. For me, I love you. Forgive me, Bella. I folded the letter carefully and sealed it in the envelope. Eventually he would find it. I only hoped he would understand and listen to me just this once, and then I carefully sealed away my heart. That's the end of the chapter.